Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. I've been traveling a lot and I've been spending quite some time in different locations depending on, where life leads you and takes you to for whatever reasons. What we have here is an AI generated background of Los Angeles. And for the occasion, I want to share with you my feelings about what would be the top 5 perfumes for LA. And I don't mean to wear in LA, but also, even if you're not in LA, they symbolize Los Angeles, even from a distance. And I've been working quite a bit on this background. I've been prompting Bubbles, my AI, to generate several ones. I needed the right mood, the right atmosphere. And I've gone through 20 or 30 images. None of them really conveyed the feeling that I feel when I am in LA, but this one really did. So let's see it quickly. It's almost like I'm in a swimming pool, right? But then there's that beautiful sunset or sunrise and kind of that haze in the sky, very typical for LA, that hazy sky that's kind of sunny, not sunny, cloudy, not cloudy, but it's dry, but it's always warm, and it's always this wavy, dreamy atmosphere. Really, really, really gorgeous. Probably the haze is due to pollution, as Debbie says in the live chats, but it still has an aesthetic. Alas, it's the world we live in. We are polluted, you guys. What are you going to do? Subscribe to my channel before we get to the list. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Get access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together there as well for extra perks. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week on my main superdacob channel. Come follow me there to partake in these recordings and also in the fun in the chats. So, everything I'm about to say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's a legend, just my opinion. There's a couple of fragrances that really symbolize Los Angeles to me. Everybody has a different vibe about a city. Everybody has different memories when they travel to a certain city. So many people might not agree with me with this list, while others might. But I have an explanation for each one of them, and I thought them through very carefully. Now, the first one is kind of a no-brainer for me. Why am I saying this? Because it is the fragrance that symbolizes current Los Angeles to me, because coincidentally, I happened to be in Los Angeles when it was released. And so, for the first time ever in my life, I smelled this fragrance in Los Angeles, which it's like imprinting yourself, like animals do. This fragrance and I have imprinted each other. It is the symbol of Los Angeles for me forever. Till my dying day, this fragrance will symbolize LA, believe it or not. And that would be a new release. It's Comete, you guys. It really, really is. Fingerprint magnet. I use this one a lot. You can see how much is already gone. Comete, or as the French would call it, Comete. Chanel's 2024 released heliotrope, iris, musk, aldehydic, cherry blossom, but not really cherry blossom, thank goodness, accord. This baby is really Los Angeles in a bottle, whether it be because it's so funny. Chanel just had their Los Angeles Cruise Collection fashion show a year ago, 7-8 months ago. And they launched it last October, November in their boutiques. And the entire cruise collection was dedicated to Los Angeles and LA vibes from the 80s, from the 70s, Venice Beach. It's kind of this dreamy sunset vibe, a lot of palm trees, chill vibes, a lot of pink hues, powdery hues, makeup-y hues, blonde, long, curly hair. And then a couple of months after that, they released Comete, right? Which kind of, to me, is a pendant to the LA collection, their LA cruise collection, because it just makes sense. This thing smells of Los Angeles. It's that powdery haze. This sky smells of this. That's the vibe, That soft, breezy vibes of kind of chilling and living your life, very LA. In fact, fortuitous, not so fortuitous when it comes to the price, because the US price of the Les Exclusives is insane. It's after tax, it's more than $100 more expensive to buy this in America than it is to buy it in Europe. So that's terrible. But on a positive note, being in LA when this one was released really made it extra special for me. It like really made me bond this perfume forever to Los Angeles. It's just quintessential modern day LA, Comete, hands down. Plus, Comete is a star. In French, kind of the comet. And you got the stars everywhere in LA. You got the Walk of Fame or the Walk of Shame, the Hollywood Walk of Fame with all the stars embedded, enshrined into the sidewalk with all the famous people from movies, television, radio, music, what have you, right? And then you got all the stars that live in Hollywood or Bel Air or Beverly Hills or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's amazing. Such a vibe. So this is a shooting star. You could also be that young starlet that dreams to make it big in Hollywood, and you become a shooting star sooner or later. Again, Comete is the name, the smell, everything. This is Los Angeles in a bottle. I kid you not. Beautiful. Now, the second one, coincidentally also one that I got in LA, but many, many, many years ago. And coincidentally also no longer in production in most other parts of the world. But this brand, I don't know if they currently still produce it for America, but they kept producing it for America even after they discontinued it for Europe. Very interesting. And this is because I suppose a lot of people in the States still loved this particular concentration of this fragrance. And I can tell you one thing. I have worn this one in many different continents, not just countries, continents. For some odd reason, it smells the best when I'm in LA. And that would be my number 2, Shalimar Eau de Cologne concentration. Yes, the Eau de Cologne, you can't get it anymore in Europe. You cannot. There's something about the Eau de Cologne of Shalimar, something old worldly, Los Angeles, Hollywood-esque, but it's a cologne, so it's more musky. It's a little bit dirtier than the other concentrations. So it gives you that vibe of really hustling to make it. Very LA. The star system of LA, making it, into the movies. But it's also giving us 30s Hollywood glamour, but within the cologne vibe. So you're bathing in this. You can imagine back in the day, you were also allowed to smoke everywhere. You can imagine this Hollywood person who wants to make it in LA, right? And in Hollywood, and wears this at night to go to the nightclubs. With fur, back in the day, you didn't need a faux fur. They had real fur, okay? Smoking a cigarette, doused in this musky Civity Accord, drenched in it going to the nightclubs. Oh, it's such a vibe, such a vibe. In fact, sometimes I wear this just to feel that dark myself when in LA. Ugh. It's a darker version of Shalimar, but it's a cologne, so it's more ratchet in a way. You know what I mean? It's more... this is a good one. This is a hoe in the best way possible. I adore this one to bits. And I've just been, coincidentally, another one of the reasons why Shalimar is definitely LA. I've just been to Universal Studios Hollywood. And I'm going to show you a picture I took. They have one street dedicated to France. Like also Disneyland does it. So they have one street at Universal Studios Hollywood, little tiny street with the facades of houses. Everything looks like it's French. You have a little French patisserie. You have a French, you have a little Vespa. Well, Vespa is actually Italian. But anyway, I took a photo on a little Vespa thing. They have a lot of French vibes going on. And one of the French vibes going on there is a perfume shop. And you can go check out my Instagram, superdacob backup, all spelled together, to see the photos that I took at Universal. But I'm going to show you now the picture as well. So one of these places is a fake perfume shop. They've created an entire perfume shop, photo ready, very film ready, something that you could shoot a movie there, and everybody would think you're in France. And look at the design they chose to represent Madame Mousseau's parfumerie. They've invented this character, Madame Mousseau, and this is, sorry for the green screen, but you can see here how this perfume bottle looks like. And what does it look like? It's literally, look at the stopper, it's the same, you guys. This is literally Shalimar, okay? They really got inspired by Shalimar, in my opinion, to create the Hollywood version of, like, the symbol of perfumery for Hollywood is this. So I thought to myself, well, of course Shalimar has, and then they have the little storefront, which is like a fake storefront with bottles inside. And again, we have the Shalimar inspired bottle, like triumphant right here at the top. Really, really gorgeous. So I took these photos, and they have this little sketch on one of the windows. Parfumerie de distinction, distinctive perfumery with Madame Mousseau. But you can't really see because there's the green screen. Well, you can see her. Gorgeous. This also Art Deco, Art Nouveau vibe with all these kind of, it's very much also 30s Hollywood trying to depict 10s and 20s Europe. So this is very Los Angeles. If you can get your hands on Shalimar Eau de Cologne, you will get that starlit vibe from the 30s. My third one, we can't just do Europe. We have to deliver some American fragrances for Los Angeles. And the best one that comes to mind is, and I don't have all the colored bottles, so I have a photo ready for you to show, and I'm going to slip to the side here. And that would be Liz Claiborne. As you can see, Liz Claiborne, first of all, a masterpiece of a perfume. Now, I do not have all the colored bottles in my collection yet, so I'm showing you one of these ads. This ad is actually, if you see right here, it says copyright Liz Claiborne 1992. But this is an 80s fragrance, and it's been around for a while. It's still available. And the plastic aspect of it is just so beautiful. It's not like 3 different flankers. It's the same perfume. You just choose which bottle you like. You can buy the red one, the blue one, the yellow one. And I do want these in my collection, to be honest with you. Now, one of the reasons, okay, so several reasons why these for me are LA. First of all, the vibe, the colors, the fact that it was released in the 80s. For me, Los Angeles in general, Beverly Hills in general, Hollywood in general, for me, its peak was in the 80s. Also a little bit in the 90s. Who doesn't remember Beverly Hills 90210? Brendan and Brenda, Kelly, Donna, Dylan, Steve. That's 90s. But also the best of LA for me is the 80s and a little bit of the 90s. And in fact, if you drive around LA today, you're going to notice there's a bit of a sadness in the air. Los Angeles looks like it's reflecting its former glory. Everywhere you look, it looks like 80s that is slowly falling apart. Modern LA isn't really a thing, not to me. It's all in the past. And there's something so beautiful about the past of LA. And the 80s were the best of times in LA, in my opinion, and the 90s as well. So this is a great memory of that because we have that plasticity. There's a lot of fakeness in LA as well, not just the attitude of certain people and the flakiness of people. Sure, but the plasticity I'm looking at because of these plastic containers, the plastic shell that holds a glass bottle. I'm referring to the plasticity and the fakeness in terms of movie sets, filming stuff. You film something, usually the facade of the building is going to look real, but behind the facade, there's not going to be a real building. So, and I love that. I love how easily disposable things are and how you can create a magical illusion for everything. That's what I love about Los Angeles. And these bottles represent that magic for me, that illusion of, turning from red to blue to yellow and containing something that is not so sturdy, that glass bottle, within a superficial external shell that looks so beautiful and plasticky and perfect in its shape. So the bottle itself is perfection for Los Angeles, but also the perfume, very interesting. We were just talking about Guerlain's Shalimar. Now, Liz Claiborne is not a Guerlain fragrance, but, and you can check out my review of Liz Claiborne's fragrance, also available on my perfume channel. I talk in depth about, when I review the perfume, about the fact how Liz Claiborne is the modern day rendition of a Guerlain fragrance, of one of Guerlain's most famous Chypre fragrances, which would be Mitsuko, or Mitsuko, depending on how you want to pronounce it, in the Japanese way or French way. And it is one of the first fruity Chypres, right, with a peachy tone and the with the peachy accord and the oak moss, same. But you have emphasis on white florals here. You got a tuberosy gardenia vibe going on in here, but it smells like an 80s version of Mitsuko. Gorgeous. That irisy, orris rudi, powdery accord in here gives you makeup vibes, very much getting ready to go on television or in front of the camera for a movie, getting ready to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel. You know what I mean? It's giving 80s shoulder pads vibes in the best of ways. And that powdery makeup-y accord turns this particular modern rendition, in my humble opinion, of Mitsuko, it catapults it into the 80s era. It's kind of like an 80s Chypre version of Mitsuko. It's just divine. Very, very, very beautiful, very LA. Liz Claiborne is one of those, in my humble opinion, American fragrances that are masterpieces, really. And it is beautiful to wear this sun and gray, foggy days in LA. It just smells, it just hits a different way in LA than it does elsewhere to wear Liz Claiborne. I'm going to show you the next picture that I have of Liz Claiborne so you get to see also the bottle that I own. So this is how they look like if you're kind of trying to hunt them down. They come in these boxes and blue, red, and yellow. And then there's this version as well, which is the one that I own. Now this is a little tiny sample splash, but there's a 100 ml bottle also available of this particular, and this one encompasses all the colors. So you have the yellow, the red, and the blue all in one bottle, or you can go with individuals. So this is kind of the entire range of Liz Claiborne perfumes. Love them to bits. The next one that I'm going to show you is another masterpiece of a perfume. Truth be told, you see we have Liz Claiborne trying to kind of mimic Guerlain with Mitsuko. Now we're gonna still be in the family of Guerlain, but we're gonna go into that territory of Guerlain family members that have been dissed in some way, shape, or form, that have not been given an opportunity to thrive and grow within the Guerlain family, and that would be a woman. Go figure, the men did not let a woman in. And that would be Patricia de Nicolai. Patricia de Nicolai released a fragrance called New York. When I smelled Patricia de Nicolai's New York fragrance, of course it's called New York, we're not going to put a New York perfume in LA. But when I smelled New York, it reminded me immediately of what I believe Patricia de Nicolai got inspired by, another 80s masterpiece of American perfumery. Fine, still designed by the French, but nonetheless, it's an American brand. Based in New York, but still, nonetheless. For me, this perfume is Los Angeles to a T. And I have here something very special to share with you. I have the original bottles from the 80s. I'm so excited to show this to you. We're talking Calvin Klein Obsession. And we're talking the OGs, okay, the bottles that were designed by Pierre Dinant, the guy who designed the opium bottle as well, but of course made in France, but there's some Obsessions also made in the US. Doesn't matter. It's Calvin Klein. It's an American brand. Obsession is an amber masterpiece, caramel amber with a green opening accord masterpiece that smells of sand and dunes and beach and sun and sizzling under the sun. It's very LA. It's also New York, but to me, Obsession is LA, while Calvin Klein Eternity is more the Hamptons and New York. But Obsession here is the OG 100 ml Cologne. Yes, back then the first edition was not eau de toilette, it was Cologne. And you can see it on the bottom here. There you go. Cologne Splash 100 ml. I also have a 50 ml. And we turned this masterpiece of a bottle around. Oh. Let me just savor this for a second. Let me just get a little bit of... Oh, you guys. It's the oak moss in here. Back in the day, they could put as much oak moss as they wanted. This thing has been pickled for the gods. This will never go stale. Oak moss is a fixative. And there's... So this is just... It smells the same as it did the first day it was bought. This little kidney-shaped pebble. They don't make this shape anymore, but Coty has now taken over the distribution of Calvin Klein fragrances, and the current version of Obsession Eau de Parfum by Coty is relatively good. It's really, really good. It comes very close to this. And of course, I also have the first ever spray version, which also, looky, it's a cologne, spray cologne, 100 ml. And the first edition, very complicated bottle. By the way, with this strong light, you get to see that the original Obsession was written in navy blue, not in black. The first, look at that bluish navy blue color. That's the first Obsession print, you guys. It was navy blue. Gray navy blue, not black. The sprayer is on the side here. And you have to press it in and the perfume comes out here. Very complex. These break very easily. In fact, my sprayer also doesn't really work very well. It sticks. I'm not going to spray it now because when you push it in, it kind of stays in. You got to pull it out. No wonder they decided to update very, very early on after this fragrance was released in the mid-80s. They switched these, because this is not detachable, by the way. This is all one piece. Okay, you can't take this off. Now, relatively soon after this was released, they swapped these to a detachable lid, and there was a sprayer inside, and that's the version you get nowadays, also from Coty. If you buy the Eau de Parfum of Obsession, you take the lid off. It's kind of ugly, really. You have that little thing sticking out to spray. But this is the OG. This is the OG with that gorgeous integrated sprayer inside of... There's a whole mechanism built in there. Like Pierre Dinant designed a whole concept for this bottle. Quite modern mechanism for the time, says Mahora. I agree with you. And I'm going to show you now the pièce de résistance. This thing is made in crystal, not in glass. And I have it in my archives. It is... this is the biggest one that they produced. I think this is a 50 ml or 30 ml. It's empty now, but I also have a full one. And this would be the pure perfume of Obsession. It is made out of... So usually when you have glass bottles, and you have it with this one, also with the other cologne, you have usually with glass perfume bottles, you have a little slit on the side, you know, because they kind of attach two parts of glass together. It's kind of, you know, to save also money. That's how most glass bottle, even Chanel perfume bottles are made that way. So you always have that, there you have that little seam right here and right up there as well, because they attach the two parts, the two sides of the glass bottle together. And at the bottom, you have these little, you know, ridges and a lot of details, you know, that's glass. But crystal, Pierre Dinant's masterpiece, crystal, no ridges, polished for the gods. You can cut it in a way you can't really cut glass because it's more stable than glass. So this bottle doesn't have any line anywhere. It's really thick crystal. It's super heavy. And the bottom of it is straight, like you can slide off of this thing. There is no bump, nothing. The quality of this, look at this. I mean, this, like, how could somebody, I got this on a secondhand website, somebody was selling their, you know, empty bottle. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll save this one. How can anybody ever think to throw these away? Look at the reflection of the light. It's one clean, straight piece of crystal. Look at that. There's no lump on the side, nothing. It is completely flat, so beautiful. And look how thick it is. Because only on the center you have a little bit of space for the liquid, but everything else is like chunky crystal, like a little pebble. And it was a splash bottle. So, so, so beautiful. Incredible craftsmanship. I mean, this bottle is just divine. And again, because it's such a beautiful object, I believe that this is one of those beautiful props to put in a movie. Very LA, very Hollywood, very, 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 very Hollywood. And if you can get your hands on this, it's such a sculptural piece. And because it's so heavy, this is the Pure Parfum, very elegant. In fact, it doesn't have Obsession printed anywhere. It's a sculpture in its own right. The Pure Parfum does not have the Obsession logo on it, the name. It's just speaks for itself, really. No other perfume was ever designed like this. Masterpiece. Now, the last one, right? We did Comete, we did Shalimar, we did Liz Claiborne, Obsession, and my number 5. You cannot have Los Angeles without Beverly Hills. And you cannot have Beverly Hills without Rodeo Drive. And you cannot have Rodeo Drive without the original baby, the original boutique that is no longer there, but we remember, Giorgio, Beverly Hills. Let me cue in the picture. I wanted to hunt down one of the oldest advertisements I could find to show you, because I do have the Eau de Toilette bottle of Giorgio, but I want to show you the extrait, which is no longer in production. But you could hunt it down, because this thing in the 80s, this thing was released in 1981. Potent, powerful. Certain restaurants did not allow you to enter if you were wearing Giorgio Beverly Hills. Musky, civety, white, floral, masterpiece, okay? The gardenia in here, oh, on another level. The musks, insane. It's been watered down. Current versions are not, as intense as they used to be. Still beautiful though, but this, look at the advertisement for the 80s. They add the very, right? The best-selling fragrance, but they added the very best-selling fragrance in Beverly Hills. And then we got the gorgeous splash bottle, 30 milliliter or 1 fluid ounce. Gorgeous. The extraordinary Mother's Day gift. They're also like, you see there, we're promoting the shit out of this thing. Available at Giorgio Rodeo Drive. That's why I wanted this ad, to show you that Giorgio, they had a boutique at Rodeo Drive, Bloomingdale's, and now very few select stores as well. Look how exclusive it was back then. Just a few select stores. And this number doesn't exist anymore, so don't try calling it. You guys, this is a very old ad from the 80s. But I had to show this ad. I mean, this is LA in a bottle. This is Los Angeles. This is the history of Los Angeles. This perfume should never be discontinued. This perfume should be kept alive and preserved. If anything, for the sake of the best old memory days of Los Angeles, really. The colors, the white and this gold yellow, it's the shoulder pads, the white outfits, the white sunglasses, driving off into the sunset in your cabriolet. The cabriolet would be also white with gold hardware, or pink or baby blue, referencing the 50s. You put that kind of white cloth around your head as you're driving off into the sunset, and that silk scarf or shawl is kind of blowing in the wind behind you, or crêpe de chine is blowing, or chiffon is blowing in the wind behind you as you're driving your car towards the sunset, wearing Giorgio Beverly Hills, and you're doused in it. And this white floral musky beast is it's just a memory in a bottle. It's a memory of a city in a bottle. Giorgio Beverly Hills is the smell of the rich part of Los Angeles, granted, but, Beverly Hills, but it is the smell. It encapsulates a vibe, an energy, a lifestyle, visuals of that time, of the 80s in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills. This is a historic fragrance. This should be preserved in museums for everybody to access for free, to be able to push a button and get some smell of, to get to sniff on it. Because the way this thing smells takes you back, even if you were not born yet back then. Doesn't matter. The power of fragrance it transcends time. Just sniffing on this will take you back into the 80s and will make you literally feel like you're back into the golden era of Beverly Hills and Los Angeles. It's just wonderful, really. I mean, it's coincidentally also my mother's favorite perfume, still to this day. She loves it to bits. And it's just the vibe. And when you wear Giorgio Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, you understand immediately what it's all about, It all clicks. Every piece of the puzzle that you might, the questions you might still have about, is this perfume good or not? Once you wear it while you're in LA, it just clicks. It's like, okay, it makes sense completely. Those would be my top 5 LA perfumes. Except, if you've made it this far, I have a little extra bonus Easter egg moment for you. There's another white floral accord. If you can't hunt down Giorgio Beverly Hills, by the way, Giorgio Beverly Hills is considered to be a cheapie nowadays. So if you're lucky, you can get it also for like $10, $13 to $15 for a 90 ml bottle. It is watered down. It's not what it used to be, but it's still better than a lot of other expensive niches out there that are very expensive. So in my humble opinion. But if you have the budget and you want to really feel Los Angeles and California in general in a bottle, and you want to have those 80s vibes, but you really want the highest quality white florals, you want to have the highest quality tuberose, you want to have the highest quality jasmine, you want to have the highest quality ilang ilang, you want to have the highest quality gardenia mixed in there just for good measure. In other words, you want the best that California and Los Angeles have to offer, but you want it in the top-notch quality. Then there's a perfume I would highly recommend for you. It is very expensive though, but this thing is really Los Angeles plants, like the symbols of Californian flowers in general and Los Angeles in general in a bottle. Literally. Gabrielle Parfum. This one here. The extrait, not the other concentrations. They have their merits. The eau de parfum, the essence, and the upcoming L'eau. Yes, they're going to release Gabrielle L'eau in fall. It's going to be berry-based. It's going to have a berries accord. None of those. This is the one. It has to be parfum. Extrait. Okay? So parfum or extrait, it's the same thing. Parfum means extrait. Just some people ask me sometimes, wait, is extrait parfum? In this case, yes, it is. Because Chanel uses the designation parfum for their extraits. Gabrielle Parfum is, oh my God, it's beyond beautiful. I mean, this is how Gabrielle should have smelled from the first time they released it. The eau de parfum should have been the parfum. I mean, all the white florals in here and this beautiful sunshine golden hue. Look at it. I can just put it in here and it totally fits the landscape. And this kind of crumpled up gold leaf sticker. This is not damaged. It's made on purpose that way. It has this gold leaf finish. You can see the texture on the sticker. That's done on purpose, you guys. The entire interior of the box for Gabrielle is also made in this particular very intense yellow gold. But this is kind of like sunshine in a bottle. A sunset, LA sunset in a bottle with a intense gold stopper as well. You're kind of cruising in your car towards Malibu or wherever you're going, towards the beach, you know, Venice Beach, and you have this on while the wind, that warm LA wind, is kind of breezing through you, and you understand immediately what this is all about. It's the white floral bomb that represents LA. That was a little Easter egg. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your favorite perfumes for LA, if you have any. And if you've enjoyed this video, thumb it up, subscribe, and until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Bye.